In the city of Cyprus in 300 BC, there lived a very wealthy trader called Zeno. While on a voyage from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his boat sank, along with all of his cargo. Because of that single event, an event that was entirely out of Zeno's or anyone's control, this very wealthy man suddenly became poor in an instant. Imagine you were Zeno. How would you react to your entire life's work getting flushed down the drain by the sheer force of nature? What is the proper reaction? Would you be angry? Sad? Would you feel life has cheated you? For most of us, these would all be normal reactions, but not for Zeno, the father of Stoicism. One small change lasts an eternity, and one small reframing of your mindset can cascade into larger and more impactful changes later down the line. The core of Stoicism is the very definition of acceptance and indifference. After reading the works of Socrates and other great philosophers, Zeno created and taught Stoicism. According to Zeno, although we don't have much control over what happens to us, we do have control over how it affects us, and we must use this control to great effect. Rather than crying over spilled milk, or in this case, drowned goods, Zeno focused on maintaining his composure. He remained calm and neutral despite his predicament. Today, people often view Stoics as those who cannot be broken, people who don't often linger in emotional extremes, like fits of rage or bouts of anxiety. But the original idea behind Stoicism was much more than that. Stoicism was not just a way to describe people who are unemotional. It was a way to view, describe, and understand the world. It was a way of life, and that way of life has lasted for centuries. Stoic philosophy can be applied to situations today the same way it was applied thousands of years ago, and its benefits are just as impactful. Stoicism allows us to process negative emotions from negative experiences and turn them into thoughts that give us a unique perspective of the world. Perspective is everything. Everyone in the world has different experiences and thus different perspectives. Since the Stoics gathered, discussed, and taught philosophy in public places, their ideas were widely known. They believed Stoic principles could benefit everyone, and so it didn't make sense to hide that knowledge behind school walls or palace courtyards. As a result, everyone from slave to emperor could learn and become a Stoic, and many did. Some of the world's most notable Stoics include Epictetus, which means acquired, as he was once a slave; Seneca, a renowned statesman; Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, and one of the most powerful men to ever live. The early Stoics practiced what they preached, avoiding all forms of segregation and leading the fight against inequality. They even invented the word cosmopolitan, which means citizen of the world. Today, when we hear that word, we think of cities like New York, Toronto, Dubai, and London because of how diverse they are. That unity and togetherness is what the Stoics stood for. At the time of Stoicism's foundation, women weren't allowed to pursue philosophy, but the Stoics disagreed. Musonius Rufus, teacher of Epictetus, once said, "It is not men alone who possess eagerness and a natural inclination towards virtue, but women also. Women are pleased no less than men by noble and just deeds and reject the opposite of such actions." Even when it wasn't popular, Stoicism welcomed women. So, why do so many people adopt Stoicism as a way of life? In a world full of unexpected turns, our emotions often get in the way. But the truth is, we don't really get sad because bad things happen. We get sad because unexpected bad things happen. Rain is a good thing. It waters our plants, provides for livestock, and keeps the air cool. But if you're caught outside in it without an umbrella, it's not a good experience. Why don't we cry when it rains? Because we've learned to expect it. Stoicism teaches us that in the same way we should expect that everything bad that can happen will happen. Picture the worst outcome and be content knowing it could happen. One Stoic exercise is known as voluntary discomfort, aimed at increasing gratitude. Sleep on the floor, take cold showers, eat only potatoes for a few days. These exercises help you realize that no matter how hard life gets, you can still survive, and maybe even thrive if your mindset is right. In today's world, where advertisements constantly tell us what to want, we're made to believe that if we don't have the next big thing, we won't be happy. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. We're raised by different sources, home, school, and society, and they often contradict one another. If we internalize all of them, we set unrealistic expectations and feel disappointed when they're not met. Instead, do things for yourself, not for external approval. Attaching your hopes to external outcomes almost always leads to disappointment. We try to fill that emptiness with things, cars, houses, even families. But if you're doing those things for their external value and not their internal meaning, then you're chasing illusions. Cars break down, cities get destroyed, relationships fall apart. Even the free things in life come at a cost, the cost of mental space. As Seneca wrote, learning to live with less will create space in your life for the things that truly matter to you. Place your happiness in your intrinsic value, not in things. Keep a cool head, no matter what life throws at you, because at the end of the day, you don't control what happens, but you do control how you react. This is the dichotomy of control, the most important principle in Stoic philosophy. Epictetus said, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control." Living with less means freeing yourself from the societal handcuffs you've unknowingly worn. Imagine someone working hard for a promotion. They present a performance report. The boss doesn't promote them. He goes home thinking he's a failure. He doesn't consider that the boss may be in a bad mood, or the company couldn't afford it. He doesn't know the reason, but he's still upset. If he judged himself based on the quality of his effort, he would have been much happier. With the right mindset, the goal isn't denied, it's just postponed. A true Stoic doesn't measure success by financial gain, but by knowing they can live comfortably without all the things money can buy. There are 4 main virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, knowing what you can and can't control; courage, persist and resist; temperance, doing more with less; justice, doing good for others, because we are all born for each other. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years during apartheid, but when he was finally released and elected president, he didn't seek revenge. He forgave, rebuilt, and led with Stoic principles. He read the works of Marcus Aurelius and lived the Stoic way, acknowledging the past but focusing on the present and the future. Even modern medicine uses Stoic ideas. Rational emotive behavioral therapy helps people challenge irrational beliefs, while logotherapy focuses on finding purpose, even in suffering. We have to rewire our thinking, out with the old, in with the new. To fix our happiness problem, we must practice self-worth. Redirect your definition of value to things you control. Stop fixating on things you don't. Lead a more fulfilling life. Stoicism helps us steer through the storms of life into calmer, more peaceful waters. And if the ship sinks and we drown, we can still take peace in the fact that we lived a good life, even if it wasn't as long as we had hoped. Because remember, everything has an end.